Alright, hey folks, everything new under the sun. Well, we're going to get to this Airstream video where I'm cleaning out some of the asbestos, but I want to add a special message. Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I'm going to talk about where we're going next with the Airstream, what my next plans are, just to fill you in. This video was a little short, so I didn't want to leave you hanging. I want to let you know where we're headed next, and yeah, so watch this one, and then at the end I'll have another video where I speak about what's going on, what we're going to do next, maybe how we're going to handle it over the winter, how I'm going to get work done in there, etc. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you after the video. Alright folks, hey, everything new under the sun. This is another episode of Restoring the Airstream. This is a 1965 Airstream LandYacht Tradewind 24 foot, and if you watch the previous episode, it had, I'm out of breath, asbestos in the tiles. Bit of a funny story first. So I pulled up all the tiles last episode, and then I took them to the dump the other day. I took them there thinking it was going to be hazardous materials, and I said, look, I've got these tiles, I think they're asbestos. And the guy says, what? I said, asbestos. And so three guys came together, and they're, what do we do with asbestos? Well, I think you cover it up. I think you just cover it up and just let it be. Something smashing. I think you just cover it up and let it be. And another guy's like, you know, I haven't seen asbestos in 30 years. And so anyways, I was like saying, well, do I take it over to the hazardous place? Because I had some batteries, I had a computer screen, etc., that have to go over to the hazardous materials location as opposed to the dump location. Anyways, they just took it and they threw it in the construction bin. There's all these big metal containers, one for metal, one for cardboard, one for construction material. They just dumped it in there. So I guess they don't have a policy for that, or they don't have a policy anymore for it because they just decided to put it in the construction pile. So anyways, what I'm doing here is I got my mop. Just an old mop that I think we'll probably just toss out. It was broken anyways. Had a little squirt bottle there. We never use it. Sand. I've got some bleach water down here, which I don't know if you can see by the angle. And I've got some rags. And I do have my face mask. Just because I'm going to be stirring things up a little bit more. It's not stirred up too much in here, but I'm going to put that on just to help. Basically what we're doing is, A, we're kind of getting rid of any asbestos dust that's left in here, and B, the walls just need a wipe down. They just need a plain old wipe down. There's some mold, there's just dirt and grunge that need to be kind of wiped off. It's probably not going to be a super duper cleaning, but it's going to be a decent wipe down to get kind of a top layer of grunge off there, so we can go and kind of deep clean, do a secondary clean. So the main purpose is to get the asbestos dust out of here, so that I can start doing some woodworking, etc., and get this thing going here. So we'll put it on time lapse. I'm going to start in the back with my bleach water. Like I say, the bleach just kills the mold and stuff, and it's just going to, otherwise it's just going to be a wipe down of the dust to get the dust out of here for whatever's left over from the asbestos. So I'm just going to start wiping stuff down. It's probably going to take me an hour to get through this thing, but I'll put it on time lapse and we'll see where we get to. Alright, well, this is playing. I thought I'd do a little bit of an overdub here, voiceover. Basically, what I was doing was I was just completely using an old mop, an old flat mop, Swiffer or something or other, no name brand, and I had a bucket full of bleach, like I mentioned in the preamble there. I was just hosing it down, getting as much as I could on there. I had forgot to put my mask on, which you see I have it on now. But I pretty much did every surface, top, bottom, everything I could think of here. I was just slathering it all over the place, getting a little bit of bleach everywhere, and also making sure to wet down as many surfaces as I could as quickly as possible to, kind of get 80-90% of the dry spots there. See my door slamming in the wind. I should probably close that. It wasn't that loud when I was in there. This took me a good hour to do. That's how long I spent at it. I basically just kept going, and that hour passed so quick. the idea generally is to wet everything down, to pick up the large amounts of dust, and if there's any other dust there, to kind of wet it down. I really need to go over with a damp rag over every surface and just clean up a bit of the extra. There was so much dirt, I mean, it was just, the mop was almost just pushing around some of the dirt, piling it at the edges and stuff, so I need to go around, like I say, with a damp rag and just kind of wipe all the surfaces clean again. And then it's going to need to be gone over with a brush to go in around the nooks and crannies and the seams. The kitchen was absolutely dirty. That needs a whole going over again. And I also went over the whole floor just to mop up as much dust as I could, soak in as much. And it got rid of a fair bit of dust, so that's a good way, ways toward a much cleaner Airstream. And then what I'll do is I'll clean out my wet dry vac, clean it out good, blow it out outside, and then come in and do another vacuuming or two. And I do have a HEPA filter. I think it's a HEPA filter on that, so that should hopefully take care of most of the dust and make it pretty safe to work inside. Alright, so we are at the end of the video. If you made it this far, well done. Alright, so what are my plans for the upcoming, well, the winter season? It gets very dark. It's already very dark here. I'm looking outside. It's 8 o'clock, well, 10 minutes to 8 p.m., and it is pitch black outside, and it's about -1 degrees Celsius. Not really exciting to be working inside of, although actually it's not too bad. If you're working inside, -1 is actually a pretty decent temperature because you won't get hot at all. So it'll be actually good for that. That being said, probably what I'll do is I'll look for a cheap electric fireplace, because it would be neat to have an electric fireplace in there anyways. We can't do anything like a cubic foot wood stove or anything like that. I think that would be really cool. Maybe that's for a future video. But a really simple little cheap electric fireplace I think would be great for a workspace heater, and it would also be great little ambiance when you're camping, even just to have the fire going, like the fake fire, and not the heat coming out of it. It would be a 120 volt system anyway, so you need to be plugged in somewhere. But I think, you know, if it's cold out, if you're, you know, going to Cape Breton or something in the fall time to look at the colors of the changing leaves, the changing colors of the leaves, then that would be a great time to have a little electric fireplace in there. So that's what we're looking at. I also did get, I don't have any video of, but I did get a pull-out couch, which I'm going to try and fit in there. It looks like a bit of a double, it's kind of the width of a love seat, but it fits inside the Airstream, at least width-wise. And it's kind of your standard old pull-out bed. You kind of pull the bed up and out from under the covers. It's not the gaucho style, you know, that is like that, and then it kind of folds. It's like that, yeah. Then it folds down. This is literally just one of those old-fashioned pull-out couches. I have no idea if the bed is actually going to work in there. I have to work on that. So I may try and get that in sometime over the winter. Again, I have no idea if it's going to fit at all. It may not fit at all through the door. I kind of have doubts that it's going to fit. Now that I look at it, I mean, the door on the Airstreams is very thin. That being said, might try and work on that. Now that it's cleaned out of asbestos, all I need in there is a work light, and I don't really have a work lamp right now. I have a lithium-ion lantern that I can use to get in there, and I basically need to rebuild the back two captain's beds in the rear area there. I have to rebuild that and put the plywood back on top. I don't have the plywood. I have the original plywood, but it's a little sketchy, a little bit dirty, moldy. I think I'm gonna get rid of that and put some new, I guess it's 1/4-inch plywood, so I'll have to buy a sheet of plywood. And but at least it's good enough that I can work inside it now. And having a little bit of extra heat in there would be good. But the biggest thing is really light. I mean, by the time 6 p.m. rolls around, it is dark black outside, and you just don't have the energy at that point to go out and start working in the camper. When it's daylight, you seem to have the energy. So we'll see how far I get to that. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the next video there. Right now, I'm trying to finish getting in my 8 cords of firewood for our house for the winter heating season. I do live in Canada, and it gets cold. We go through 7 to 8 cords of hardwood where we are in Canada, and we burn that throughout the winter, obviously. So I'm trying to get the last of that in before the snow starts flying, and that's happening soon. So I'm making a push to get all the wood in. Once I get the wood in, I won't have anything to do outside, and there'll be snow on the ground, so that'll be good. I won't be working on the truck or anything like that. So then I think I'll have time to actually go out into the camper and do a little bit of extra work, and actually starting to build out the interior, get the electrical system together as well. That's the other thing I want to do. I actually want to do the electrical system first, so that then I can plug lights and other appliances into the outlets inside the camper. So I think, yeah, actually my next project will actually be getting the inside wiring figured out. And by figured out, I mean putting barrettes on the cut ends, because the previous owner literally just went with a pair of snips and cut the wires off right at the wall. So they're sitting there. I can see the copper, the copper bundle inside the wall. They just literally cut it right off of the wall. So I got to pull those through or something, put barrettes on them so they're safe, and trace the wiring through of the 120 volt system, so that when I do plug it in, or well, at first I have to figure out where it's supposed to plug in originally. I think in the back compartment of that, underneath the bathroom, and then get the barrettes on there, and then get it plugged in and make sure all my outlets work, so I can actually get a work lamp in there, like I'm saying, and get all that done. So anyways, that is the plan currently. And yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say. I think the next thing will be the electrical, and maybe get a little fireplace in there. And I do have that couch to get in there too, so a couple of episodes there as I struggle over what to do with that sort of stuff. We don't have the flooring in yet, so is it a good idea to put the couch in? Well, maybe not. Although I probably could put the couch up on end. I think it might be short enough to kind of go up on end so we can get flooring in there. That being said, it's a used couch, and there was kind of mouse poop on it as well, so I have to clean it to see if it's even going to work. Now that I have it, I'm going to measure it up and see if I know where the internal bed. I know what the internal bed width is now, so I can take my time, measure it out, and make sure it's going to fit before I actually start trying to jam it through the door. But anyways, all right, those are my plans for the next, I guess, for the winter time. And we'll see how far I get. So I have no idea when the next video is going to come out. But you made it this far. Thanks for watching, guys. And thanks for following along the journey. Check out the playlist. I got a couple of Airstream playlists. Different Airstream playlists. Yeah, naming different things. Airstream, and then one for the restoration. I've got a couple I got a bowler playlist. So check that out if you're into bowlers as well. I had one of those last year and the year before that I kind of put back together and got that on the road. So I will end it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
So far.